Welcome to the live on the 8 metamorphic pit stops of transformation that are part of every cycle of nature, every rhythm of nature. And it's like gravitational force, whether we like it or whether we are aware of it, it is forever there, it is forever functioning, it is forever present. So the 8 metamorphic pit stops are also like that. They are part of nature's cycle. And so before we even get there, I wanted to do a little, I brought this board and let's see. Yeah. Okay, so you see here, right? How do we see life? So let us look at our own life, our own life as from birth through death. How does that move? How does it move in our mind? How does the socio-cultural narrative prepare us or move us through it? So, say you're born here. Yeah, you're born here. And first 8 years of our life, today even brain research shows that first 8 years of our life, even first 5, our neurons in our brain are not wired. So they are actively wiring. So the entire world is actually forming our brain. So hi there, someone who's joined me. I'm reading it as Found Space Collective. Welcome. So if this is our birth, so this is say birth. So I will call it 0 to 8 years. This much time our brain is forming. So the entire outer world, our family systems, the environment in which we are, everything grossest to the subtlest is forming our brain. Our brains are wiring, and then that is what informs how we see the world from here on. So this is one of our first pit stop, 0 to 8. Every moment, every year on that is a metamorphic pit stop. So this is to know how important the first 8 years of our life is. Very, very powerful. Our first 8 years of our life. So that is itself a pit stop. Every year is a pit stop on that. And then, we start, we learn to go to school. We are learning in this system of education that is, prevalent all over the world. I have a bias. I don't understand what it is really doing us than disconnecting us from nature. So here, our connection, we are born connected in nature. 0 to 8 years is when the separation happens, and it is natural part of human evolution. We will separate out from nature. It is not like a cow, a calf, or a kitten, very fast. It doesn't take a kitten or a calf or a puppy to get on its feet and start moving in the world. But a human child takes a long time to get all its functionalities, all its senses really happening. And in that process of it becoming human, it also begins to separate out from nature. So these years are also teaching a child, actually more than teaching, is like allowing the child, creating an environment that allows a child to find its connection. So that allowing the child to ask more questions, to be present, to listening, asking questions back instead of answering the child, allowing the child to develop all its faculties. So this is what. Then as we go to school, and then the next pit stop. So I'm using the life first, then we will see, okay? So 16 years is the peak of this pit stop actually. 16, that is, if you look at yourself, just go back to thinking of when you were 16 years of age. Towards 16 and coming out of 16, something very, very potent of this gateway opens up. Yeah, it is this. It is learning to do, move into the world of doing. You know, and this is all preparing us for doing. Yeah, so you are learning to protect yourself. You're learning about boundary. There's so much happening here. Okay, and then comes the next pit stop, which is 24 years. Yeah, and today science shows that science research, brain research is very clear that by 24 years of age, our brain has created, our neurons are pretty much set. The intensity with which they were firing here, they were pulsating, firing hundreds of neurons, thousands of neurons fire here. By the time it is 24, their intensity has reduced. So our brain is pretty much getting set by 24 years of age. So this is early childhood development, and then this is childhood, you know. And then at 24, in the metamorphic nature's rhythm, and I'll come to it later on, nature's rhythm is when is about moving home, leaving home into the world, standing on our feet. By this time, we have been prepared for the world. Not just in our own self, but also in connecting with the world, showing up in the world, expressing ourselves in the world, protecting ourselves in the world. This is where that is happening. And then the next pit stop is 32 years. And if you look at your life, you will see key events have happened that have deepened you, that have opened you. And these are also connected to planets. So I'm not going to go there today. In astrology, these are activation of different planets in our life, okay? 32 years, it's the peak of doing. So from 24, next 24 years is the most important cycle of doing. Creativity, creating, working in the light rhythm, and here is 48. Then comes 56. So as you can see, these are all multiples of 8 that I'm writing here. 64, then comes 72, like this. Yeah. So these are all different gateways. This is one gateway. This is one gateway, and this is another gateway. So this is how we see our life, as a straight line. Yeah. We see our life like this. Yeah, we begin here, and then we are going and going and going and going and going. And what does this modern world make us believe? What has happened here? You push it on the carpet. What happened to here? Forget it. It doesn't matter. It's not going to come back. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Let it go. Those people, that you hurt or they hurt you, forget it. You've left them behind, not coming back. It makes you believe that you can do things and get away. Nothing is coming back. Nothing is coming back. This is how we meet and move. And then we realize, why are things not happening the way that I visioned myself or I planned for myself? And that is where nobody really, our modern education system, a very patriarchal lens, is very linear. It makes you believe that I am independent from all that exists around me, my family, nature. Family is also nature, like animals, birds, trees, forests, rivers, deserts, plateaus, plains, everything. Everything is interconnected. We don't realize that. That's not how the world teaches us. So, is this how it is? No, it is like this. This is how, so if I want to draw it in the truth of it, this is what we think the metamorphic stops are, but they're really not like that. So how are they? They are this way. Okay, so I'm going to draw it here. It's a cycle. Yeah, my circle may not be, actually, you know what, I am, you know, let me draw a circle first, that way, you know, I can show it to you better. Here, do you see this? It's a circle. I'm going to bring it a little down. Yes, there it is. It's a circle. And let me, this circle, a circle has like this, right? So this is one, this is another. So there are 4 quadrants, and each quadrant has a midpoint, and of course it has a start and an end point. Yeah, so this is your 0 to 8, this is 16. One second. Okay. Can you see it? Yeah. So like this, it's like this. This way. Yeah, so 0 to 8, 16, 24. This is 32. This is 40. This is actually 40 to 48, just like 0 to 8 here. This is 56. This is 64. This is 72. And this actually, instead of 0, you don't see it. Instead of 0, I'm going to make it infinity. Because that's what it is. This is infinity. This is bonus. You don't know how long. And here also you don't know. So this is an infinity point from where life springs. Yeah. So if you look at this, yeah, so this is the movement. So there are 4 phases. Phase 1, 2, 3, 4. Within each phase, these 8 metamorphic pit stops exist. Within each, there is a metamorphic pit stop. So if you look at here, if I ask you, where does it start? Where does something begin on a circle? There's no beginning in a circle. There is no end in a circle. Every point is a beginning and an end. And every point is influenced by the other point. Something here, it will come here. Is an exact opposite point of polarity is being mirrored. So if you ignored it here, it will show up here. When you are 56 years old, you will have to meet the 16-year-old self. So similarly, every point here is like that. It's mirrored. And if you look at it, this is just one life I'm saying. And if we are energy, then this has been happening for eons in our evolution. So this is a very powerful phase. So this phase, right? So these are the 8 metamorphic pit stops. So this is the dark. Yeah, this is where, this is the dark feminine. So I'm going with the life cycle, that's why I'm showing it this way. So this is the dark phase. Yeah, this is the dark and this is the light phase. So this is about the being. This is the beingness. This is the doing cycle. This is our switch from being to doing, and this is from doing to being. So if you see do and be, you know, similar letters, just 2 letters in the ing, but it changes our entire movement. So now your life rhythm, where is it happening? It is happening on an everyday clock, on a 24-hour clock. It is exactly moves in the same way. So how is that? So this is, if you look at a clock, this is your 3 a.m. This is your 6 a.m. or dawn. This is your 9 a.m. This is your noon. This is your 3 p.m. This is your 6 p.m. or dusk. This is your 9 p.m. and this is your midnight. So this is again a being phase, being to doing phase, doing phase. So these gateways of your life cycle, they are also connected to the day rhythm. And in the same way, this is also connected to our annual rhythm. And when we say day rhythm, what we think, we just think of 24 hours. But why do we have 24 hours? It is because Earth is moving around its own axis and it's moving around the sun. There's so much happening in the universe, which as children, as we go to school, we are not taught that. We are not taught that as you're sitting in this class, you're sitting on this earth which is moving around its own axis, and now it is here, that is why it is, this is the time, because the sun, so we forget this truth of all that is already happening in nature, we are not aware of, right? So the being and doing gateways every day, in every hour also it is shifting, and it is connected to our breath. So if you go deeper into this journey, you will say that your breath keeps shifting. Your nostrils activation keeps shifting. And that is what creates, in Ayurveda, the 3 doshas. And these 3 doshas are moving in the entire day. I mean, there's so many interconnections, yeah. And if you look at this in the same way, yeah, if I'm just going to put the rhythms here. If you put it in terms of, I'm just going to take this off so, it's not too much, these lines are kind of, too many distractions. So actually, it's not in the dark that we have distractions. It's more in the light. When we enter darkness, it's more of resting. And now what happens in the season? So this is solstice. The solstices are here. The winter solstice, summer solstice, the equinoxes are here. This is where the equinoxes are. The dawn and the dusk, they represent the equinoxes. The morning, the dawn is connected to spring equinox, yeah, and dusk is connected to autumn equinox. Noon is connected to summer solstice, and midnight is connected to winter solstice. So right now, where are we? Right now, we are just coming out of this. We are somewhere around here. Our sun is now entering into Tropic of Capricorn, somewhere here. This is 1st of February. This is spring equinox, so March 22nd, 23rd. This is 1st of May. This is June 22nd, 23rd, the summer solstice. This is 1st of August, September 20 to 23rd, one of those dates. It sometimes moves here and there. 1st of November, back to December 23rd or 22nd or 21st. It changes sometimes. So this is happening all the time. These metamorphic pit stops. So if you look at, in India, this is our solstice. This Shankranti, it's not winter solstice. It's not December 20th or 21st for us, because of our positioning of Earth and the way we are positioned and the way the moon and the sun move in the sky, exactly where we are located. Our winter solstice is actually coming now, when we call it that the longest night, which is on 14th of January, when sun enters Tropic of Cancer, and we enter into, right here, we enter into Uttarayan. Yeah, we enter into the light cycle, the masculine cycle of doing. In the old culture, everything was marked around this. Uttarayan means, all auspiciousness is open. People start, life begins. And similarly, right around here, when sun enters Cancer, Tropic of Cancer, we enter the feminine cycle. Yeah, we enter the feminine cycle. So this is moon and this is Saturn. Yeah, so moon. So Cancer month, when you enter Cancer, it is called Kark Rashi, or in Kerala, it is called the month of Karkidagam or Cancer. It is the month of rain, and Cancer is water. Cancer is about the water element. So in that month, in Kerala, very first day of Karkidagam or Cancer, rain comes. It is just unbelievable. Previous day, nothing. That day, it will be tropical rains. And that whole month You know, in the old culture, in the old earth culture, it was very customary that as before Cancer comes, Cancer is mother's house. Before rains come, women, you know, they go back to their mother's house. So if you're married and in your husband's home, you go to your mother's house. And through the entire month of Cancer, when the rains are coming, Sawan is the month, you know, Sawan ka mahina. So that month, rainy season, women wrote letters. It opens a longing gateway. You know, it opened a gateway of love, you know, viraha. So many songs you will see of Sawan about viraha. She is thinking of her husband, of her beloved, of her lover and missing him. This was very customary. It was literally enacted like that, you know, because very next after Cancer is Leo. Leo, when the sun returns to its house, the king comes home. So that is when women come back and meet their beloved, and you know, it's why am I saying this? I'm saying this in the old culture, each of these metamorphic pit stops, even in the day, dawn and dusk, they were considered as very powerful gateways. I grew up hearing my mom telling me that at that time, you know, to stay away from today. I mean, today's world is media or anything like that, but in my time it would be you say a prayer. We didn't have television. I'm not a television culture person. I didn't grow up with television, so that was not part of my life. But mornings were times of going inwards, say a prayer, when you wake up at dawn, sit quietly, you know, you light a lamp or you look at light. You really care for yourself. You also help the body with cleansing. And evening time, the dusk time, was a time which I would always hear, is that you avoid gossip, you do not talk ill about anybody. In today's world, it would be stay away from social media, don't watch TV around that time. It is the time of very powerful gateways, because you're in the in-between, you're in the peak of in-between, of dusk, of light and dark, and it is also an ancestral gateway. In India, once this opens up, we enter Cancer and the feminine cycle, ancestral rituals begin. And exactly here, in this time, we have a 15-day phase of ancestors. Pitru Paksha opens up. That's why dusk time is a time, like you never sit in the in-between of the door. You're told the Prahlad story, but that's not just the thing. You don't, because you are an in-between, so you don't want to accentuate your in-between, because some gateways may open up. So these 8 metamorphic pit stop in our life, during the day, during the season, during even the moon. So this is the dark moon, this is the full moon, yeah, and this is the dark moon, this is the full moon, this is the 4th, Chaturthi, Ashtami, Ekadashi, Paurnima, Chaturthi, Ashtami, Ekadashi, Amavasya, Chaturthi, Ashtami, Ekadashi, Purnima, Chaturthi, Ashtami, Ekadashi, Amavasya. So you can see these Chaturthi, Ashtami, Ekadashi, why are they so important? Why are there so many rituals around it? Why do we fast on these days? Why are certain things happening? So all these gateways, whether it's in our life cycle, in our day cycle, in our seasonal cycle, in our moon cycle, they are very powerful, tabooed, metamorphic pit stops. And rituals, they anchor us. We don't even know, you know, when you are entering into this Paksha, Pitru Paksha, the feminine is, you know, today everybody is talking about feminine, and we glorify it. Feminine is nothing to be glorified. Feminine, entering the dark, is meeting death. It is a very difficult gateway. Feminine is not a gateway of celebration and joy. You know, when it's a descent, it is going under, it is meeting those aspects of yourself that are extremely difficult. It is about letting things die, letting things leave you, to be forgotten, to be missed. You know, all longing, deep longing. So all that is the feminine. So so let's be very this about when we are exaggerating and glorifying. I mean, it's none of these. Masculine rhythm is as much. Majority of the time we are in the masculine rhythm because we're using our mind, our intellect. We are, that is where our processing happens, and that's the masculine. Feminine is of the body, of the feeling. There is no mind there. It is when you are more in being and presence is when the feminine is really active. So feminine is about surrender, deep trust. That is when you are really experiencing the feminine. Of course, everywhere there is trust. Just the expression and the feeling is going to be different. Okay. So what was I going to say? I was saying that as we enter into our feminine cycle here, the Dakshinayan cycle, that is when we have, so this is Chaturthi, I said, no, waning Chaturthi. This is where we have our Ganesh Chaturthi. So what is Ganesha then? Yeah. So Chaturthi is connected to Ganesha. And what does that mean? Chaturthi means, Ganesha means what? Ganesha is not an elephant head god. That's fine. Our sages, the seers of this land, made everything into form because we connect with form. It is very difficult to connect with something that you cannot see, smell, taste, hear, touch. So they made everything into a form, so you can touch, you can play, but then you get attached to it. You give it personality, but it really does not have a personality. So what is Ganesha? Gana, Ish. These are two words. Ish means the master, the lord of, the essence of, divinity. Gana means, there is this intelligent in matter. When the egg and the sperm come together, the zygote that is created, the first cells that get created. Initially, we are just single cells, and then they multiply into 2, and then they multiply into 4 and 8. But how does each cell know which organ to become? How does one cell know that I need to become the heart? How does it know? How do different cells have the intelligence to come together to form something? Where is that intelligence? Because when people do biologists, when they do, or chemists, when they do research and they go all into the space, into the cell, they see it's 99% space. So where is this intelligence? That intelligence which brings matter together to form something is Ganesha. That energy in the universe. So in India, when we have these different gods, I mean, God itself is such a wrong word. It's a very Western word. It's not an archetype. You cannot apply Jungian theory to something, to the Devis of India, because they are not archetypes. They are an energy which is present in that raw form in nature. It is very much present. You can tangibly experience it. It is not of our psyche. It is not of the human psyche. And that is where I feel there's so much. You use the same lens of the West and you put it on, and what is on this land, it is not. It is not psychological in some ways. It is very elemental, very primal, beginning with the creation itself. So many of these, the energies, these are energies and archetypes. I mean, of course, our seers have given them a form so we can connect to it, but they are not personalities. There is no personality. So you cannot look at a woman and say, you are Durga. You are not, because she is an essence. You will have all the essences in your existence, and today, I mean, in this world of identity and personality, everything is ego driven. We don't even know what really feminine is, because we immediately have to give something an identity. Then it is no longer that. It's no longer feminine lens, okay? So these are things that the minute I'm speaking and sharing, all this is right now in the masculine rhythm. Because you are trying to understand what I'm saying. I am using my words, and so I am already so much moving in the light rhythm right this moment, right? So okay, so Ganesha, so that is what is Ganesh Chaturthi. So my idea of telling you this was so that you can understand that these rituals that exist, especially on India, And of course in old Nordic culture, when you look at really earth-based pagan culture, there is so much similarity between those old culture. And if you look at the work of Marie Gimbutas, who did so much research, and she through her research, she's a Lithuanian, and Lithuania as a culture, the old culture is very similar, mapped to what is in India. And she actually said that the only place today you can see that culture really alive is in India, and so many things. Like, I really invite you to start exploring this Nag Panchami, Basant Panchami, these Panchami, 5th. And why is Nag Panchami here? It is around here. It is just as we enter Cancer. And why is that? Because as it starts raining, water goes into the pits of all the snakes, and all the snakes come out. That is when they go out hunting for frogs. Snakes and their little babies, they are all out looking for food. So in this Nag Panchami, in the old culture, it was to really protect the snakes and to have the awareness that as you tread on this land, be aware that snakes are moving around. We are on their land, so sacred groves are full of snakes, so they go out, and so things like that. So you're telling children, you might see a snake, it's okay, it's rainy season, so be careful when you walk. And I remember being told that as a child, make sounds as you walk so the snake knows that you are there, because they perceive sound. So Nag Panchami, snakes are, when snakes disappear, ecological balance completely shifts. So snakes are very powerful reptile. It is a metamorphic animal, reptile, and it plays a very important part in balancing our ecosystem, and that is where snakes were protected. And the Nag Panchami was of that reminder, and similarly Basant Panchami comes around here as you enter into being to doing gateway, and you pray to Saraswati. You do Saraswati Puja. Basant means spring, and 5th day of the waxing moon is when you pray to Saraswati. And Saraswati is the maiden goddess. She is of light, beginning of wisdom, creativity. So you seek her blessings, that please bless me with skills. Please give power and force, power to my skills. Let me be able to sustain them. Let me be able to birth what I'm here to, so that as I move into the doing cycle, I find more power and strength in my doing. So these are the 8 metamorphic pit stops, and we are moving in and out of them every single day of our life. And many times, many of these pit stops are cross secting each other, cross intersecting, cross firing, cross meeting, and we do not even know what is happening. So I feel like our education system itself has to shift, especially on our land. This is the education system in our old Gurukul system. We had this where everyone was, the connection with nature of the 0 to 8 years was allowed to expand, and each person was supported to show up in it in their own way, in the way their planets were. So people knew where your planets are, so your teacher or the person that you are going to take Diksha from would know also your chart, would also know how, or they need to know, I feel, teachers in schools need to know these things. They need to know the interconnection of life. And that is the evolution, the evolvement. So today, if you look at that our consciousness has receded. The human consciousness is in a pitiful state right now. When I read the text, some of the yogic text scriptures, it's mind-blowing. Where is that? Where is that human consciousness? What has happened to us? What has happened to the human consciousness across the planet? Where are we going? So, one way that I invite you is to start paying attention to these pit stops in your life. When you see in your culture, in your religion, in your in your lineage, there have been certain pit stops that have been created, certain taboos that you've been told. You now explore them. What is this taboo about? They might tell you I should not, should, but you explore it. Where does it sit on this metamorphic pit stop? And what is it protecting me? How do I show up in this taboo? And how do I move into that taboo? I watched this movie yesterday. These pit stops, they exist in relationship as well. Everything moves through the cycle, and nothing can stay in that form forever. It's not possible, and we have to make room for that. When you meet someone, there might be so much love, and you have to make room for that love to also change and morph and shift and find new grounds. And today's our world makes us believe, the modern patriarchal consumeristic world makes us believe that everything has to stay that way forever. Our body has to stay, our looks have to stay, everything. We build structures with the hope that they stay forever. We are not taught to move with change, to give change a huge space in our life. So I saw this movie yesterday, Sir. It came on Netflix, and I was looking forward to watching it. And it is this this in India. We have this culture of servant, master servant. So someone your housemaid is literally seen as a servant, and she's almost invisible, and it's interesting, and it is and over the years it is almost taboo for you to have a intimate relationship with your housemate. It is a taboo. It will be looked down upon, frowned upon. You should not. But then you look at it. If you look at that taboo, what does that mean? It is a metamorphic gateway. It is a powerful gateway towards death of something, of a very powerful. So if two people can, with awareness, and this movie really shows that awareness, these two people had so much awareness of the metamorphic gateway. They were aware of what it could result in, the way it was, and how they choose to move, how they choose to move through awareness and still navigate it, and to move towards it, and to meet it, and to transform oneself in the process. And I think this is what is so powerful, to be able to. Now, if I won't want to give away the film, but if someone does have, chooses that, against all odds, I don't care. When we say I don't care, it is irrelevant. You care. Everyone cares. This I don't care is the most, only a human being can utter that sentence. I don't care. You don't care. No. We care. I care. I care who you are. I care how you look at me. Even if I may say that in anger, but I care. I care how you will respond to this video. As much dispassion I have, I will care whether you found this meaningful or not. I care. I can never say that sentence anymore, that I don't care, because I do care. Something in me cares. And to not care takes so much energy out of my system. And it is the same for anyone. So I do care, we care. So whenever you say that sentence to someone, you don't care, or I don't care, just say, what are you saying? Not true. You care. That is why there's so much emotions. There's so much feeling, So I care. And you care too, though you're not showing it to me. I know you care, because on this rhythm, in nature's rhythm, we are born as nature, in nature. To know ourselves as nature, it is built in care. It is built. We are born out of love. It's like gravity holds us, earth holds us so close, and the sun holds the earth and all the planets so close, you circumambulate around me. We love. Earth is so devoted to that. Moon is so devoted to the earth. It moves around unflinchingly around the earth, you know. So this cyclic, so we do care, and be aware of how you start looking at it linearly and what it does. When you start seeing at it linearly, you feel like you can be independent, but we are interdependent and we are interbeing, and it is time that we really start going deeper and deeper and allowing ourselves to expand our capacity to hold this interbeingness and whatever it opens. And this truth of that, I care. I care about everything. I care about politics. And it's not even about politics. I care about how people respond to each other, and I care about what people say. I care. It affects me. And I don't want it to not affect me. You know, because then I say, what is happening here? You know, where is my disconnect? Where have I tried to hide or bypass or separate and stay separate? So this is our first day of the 8 metamorphic pit stops, and I hope that this has opened up new movements for you. It has expanded your psyche into looking at things around you differently. And tomorrow we will look at the ritual map and the festival map of India, on the subcontinent of India, and I will look at it from my own space, you know, Kerala and also India a little bit, but there are so many nuances, and I would invite you to start already charting around the year. What are the festivals? How do you show up? What are the things, whether you like it or you don't do it, you might have heard about it, and what are the things in your own culture? In your own jati, you know, because jati has been, each one of us have come from a very unique ancestral line, and which was based on, you know, some skill or some nuance that each had, and to look at that, explore that. So okay, hi Aarti, so I'm reading you. Love you. And so tomorrow we will come back, and we will look at the festival map for this year. And so when this year opens up, and as you move, how can you show up more consciously in this map of all the things that come up, and how can you show up in your way, in your unique way, and how can you make rituals meaningful? Is making Ganapati statues and putting them in the river and the ocean, how is that anyway connected to the metamorphic pit stop? What are we doing? You know, because we have done and we don't want to upset people now, if nobody wants to see, I mean, what are we doing? It is really time to, in a very open, inclusive way, opening up these conversations. In your school, if you're a teacher, in your schools, in your neighborhood, with your housemate, even, with everyone you meet, opening up, why are we doing this festival? Could we know more? And how do we bring intention and meaning, and how do we do that? And it always begins with the one who begins it, and then it spreads. So yes, so that's what it is for today. And thank you so much, beautiful, beautiful people who joined me. And somehow I'm not able to see all the comments, so I am going to really look at the comments later. And if you want something specific from today that you are sitting with or you're stuck with, write to me, message me, and I will incorporate it. So the first 15 minutes of tomorrow, I might answer your questions. So send me your questions. And if you want to go deeper, one more thing I completely forgot here on the Metamorphic Pit Stop is our blood cycle. How did I forget that? So our blood, so maybe that I will bring it tomorrow, you know. Our whole menstruation cycle is on this metamorphic pit stop, and we look at that tomorrow, and we look at even the taboos of menstruation. Why are they there, and what purpose do they serve? And when we take away those taboos out, what happens to our own connection to the ethereal, to the mysteries of this universe, to being, to presence, so these taboos, they bring mysteries. They tell you that you are not independent of all that is happening around you. You are a powerful point on this cycle, yeah, and you mean something. You are worth it. Your presence means something in this universe, and you contribute to this universe just by being. You don't have to get first rank or anything. Just by being here in this body, you are worth it. Yeah, you have been successful. You are successful. So let's stop today. Many blessings, lots and lots of love. I care. Blessed be.